All right, if you're joining us from sometime in the distant future after some horrible thing has happened,
It's after
note
the
that,
apocalypse.
well, yes, that's what the nuclear explosion is for. Uh, just skip 3 minutes forward, 3 minutes forward, and that will get you to the time when we play the music and the show starts. But if you're here right now, welcome. It says it's episode 85, but but I went and I checked, honey, and the real answer is it's actually episode 86. There were two like episode deaths, 53s or something.
Oh, okay.
But we'll go with 85. We'll just call that the special double episode. It's like the one from Star
No,
Trek.
there were two episodes 53s, remember, because we started and our audio was bad. And we had to stop and jump out of the podcast and start it again.
Oh, okay.
That's why this is episode 85. We had to jump out of the podcast.
Gotcha. All right. I'll say hello to the people that are already there. And crack a beer. Oh, wait. I already cracked a beer. Mm-hmm.
Better than cracking a rat. You know what I mean?
Fat tire beer. Fat tire beer you make. It's high quality and low impact. My belt line will beg to differ, but that's another story. Let's see.
I
Got
think
the
you
stuff.
just gave free advertising to Fat Tire Beer.
Fat tire beer you make the podcasting world go round. There you go. But it's certainly not.
Fantastic.
It's they probably will sue us for.
Yeah, probably they will.
endorsing them. New content dual sauce. Let's see what we've got. Got all my stuff ready. Make that smaller. Make that bigger.
You have to embiggen that one.
Yeah. Getting all the stuff. All right. And for everyone out there in our listening audience, remember the rule is if I complain about technology, you have to drink.
Is it raining right now? My computer seems to think it is.
I don't know.
You're sitting by a window. Could you look out?
It's behind me. No, I actually can't. My neck doesn't bend that way. I'm not a G.I. Joe.
You're not?
Hi, Mark.
I'm so disappointed.
Oh, you think you're disappointed now? Wait till you hear Think Real Fast.
Well, you probably don't even have the kung fu grip, huh?
But I got the beard. I got the beard, though. I got the beard. All right, it's go time.
Bants and Bants. Bants and Bants.
All systems go.
Bants and Bants.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bombs and Bants.
We begin as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome to the 85th live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I am your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hey there.
And the missus.
Hello.
How's your week been, Mark?
Not bad so far.
Well, it's Wednesday, so it is Wednesday, right? Okay. Yes, it is
Yeah.
Wednesday. I
Yeah,
just
we
said
do
it's
this
Wednesday.
every Wednesday.
Yes, every Wednesday. There are times when time and space becomes an elusive concept. And I've only had one sip of beer tonight. Literally one sip. That's all I'm into. The Fat Tire Ale, who is our new non-sponsor.
That's right.
All right. So you're doing okay, Mark? How are you doing, the missus?
You know, I'm very tired this evening, and it's kind of a long story as to why. Now, you know the reason, because you've been here for all of it. So we have these two cats that we inherited. Okay? Did not want the cats, took the cats in because it was an obligation that had to have been fulfilled. That's another long story. So they've been living here. They were indoor cats. They proved that they cannot handle being indoor cats. They have moved outdoor. On Saturday, one of them disappeared. And these cats are both kind of old. The one that disappeared is like 15. So I thought, he's gone to kitty heaven, right?
Off the great litter box
Yeah.
in the sky.
Mm-hmm. So Pugsley was out wandering around the house yesterday and comes inside and said, "Hey, I found the cat." Well, where is the cat? So, that old trope, that comedy trope about firemen having to go to get cats out of trees and how that never happens, right? Well,
They won't do that, actually.
Right. But that happened. Our cat is stuck in a tree in our backyard. And not like just a little short tree. He's caught way up in the tree. Here is a photo. You can see in the middle of the photo, the small red circle. That is the cat. That is how high the cat is in the tree. And if you still can't see him, here's a close-up. He is outlined. Stuck in the tree. So Pugsley and I embarked this afternoon on Operation Rescue the Cat. First, we're going to work on our deck, so we have 20-foot pieces of 2x4 in our backyard. Let's see if we can reach the cat. That did not work.
Their deck. They're not 2x4. They're deck.
Whatever they are, yeah. Anyway, that did not work. And plus, it's wood. It's very heavy. Pugsley couldn't hold that and be on the ladder at the same time. We have like a little storage shed below this tree. He got up on a ladder next to the storage shed. That did not work. So then he said, "Hey, we have that little saw thing that we use that you're supposed to be able to get tree branches with. Go see if we can kind of poke the cat down from the tree with that, and he'll come down that way." Still could not reach the cat with that, even fully extended. So Pugsley at this point says, "I'm out of this. I've tried my best. I don't like that cat anyway. He's kind of an asshole. I'm done." So I was like, well, there has to be some other way we can get the cat down out of the tree. Maybe if we can just nudge him, he'll come. And even if he fell down, it looks like it's really high up there. It's not that high if you're a cat, right? He could probably jump and land on another tree or something. And he's very small. Something would break his fall.
But there are ample ways that he could get down.
Oh yeah, he could. Yeah, he has claws. He's a cat. He could get down.
Well, but beyond that, they're mini. It's not like he's on a lone branch sticking up in there. They're
right.
Who would even have to be a flying squirrel to get from one to the other?
Right.
Have you considered a 12 gauge?
Well, we tried the BB gun. The BB gun could not. The big BB gun would not shoot far enough to shoot the cat with. Then we tried bow and arrow because I have like these little tiny Nerf like marbles. They're marble sized, but they're Nerf. Okay, put that on the end of the arrow. Tried to shoot that to get the cat down, but since it was Pugsley's bow and arrow, the knock thing at the end of the arrow was missing on all of them except one. So I had one shot and I did not hit the cat. Then we tried rocks to see if we could shotgun the cat with rocks to get him out of the tree. That would at least encourage him to move. I could not hit him. And my very strong, big, manly son, I said, "Come out here and throw. You have a stronger arm than I do." He threw, and I was like, "Oh my God, Pugs, I can throw farther than that." So that didn't work. John Wilder's suggestion was the hose. I tried the hose. Sprayed the cat with the hose, and I got him to come down a little bit. But then he got scared, he turned around and went back up. And I tried to shoot him again with the hose, but he was blocked by the leaves. And after sitting on top of our little shed out there on the ladder and spraying the stupid cat with the hose, for about 20 minutes I gave up. Now there's an open can of cat.
Another question. Is he meowing? Making
Oh,
noise,
yes, he's meowing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's his big fat mouth being open.
Yes, you can see him in the picture. His big fat mouth is open.
And the tree is such that you really can't get to it. You'd have to cut down half a forest to get to it, and it's just on a hill, and
it's up against the side, kind of like a little mini cliff. It's about a 5-foot drop off a little cliff, but the tree's at the bottom, and he's on the other side of the tree. So even if you were at the base of the tree, you wouldn't be able to get to him.
See, now Terebrate has zoned in exactly on the solution I was just going to bring it.
Okay.
We're gonna take that one branch down. We're gonna just cut that one branch down, and then he's coming down whether he likes it or not.
It's a big frickin' branch. We could do that.
Yeah,
that would require you to get out there with a chainsaw.
Do you care if he comes down alive or not?
Well,
Maybe
Well, I mean,
He's going to die one way or the other. I mean, he's either going to come down and be okay, or he'll be dead one way or the other, right?
Here's
Well, I don't know.
the
I mean, he might come down when he's hungry enough.
Well, he's been
He's
up there
just not
since
hungry
Saturday. And I did
Oh,
leave
well.
an open can of cat food sitting on the rail in the back deck. That might lure him down, or the other fat cat just might go eat it. So,
all right, enough cat.
but those of you listening can think about this, and if you come up with a good solution for getting the cat out of the tree, other than an actual shotgun.
All right. Next on the list, it's official. Britain has a new king.
Because their old king is what? Their old queen is what?
She's dead.
Yep.
And here is the PBS NewsHour with the highlights, so you don't have to watch the whole thing.
Britain's priceless crown jewels were at the heart of the ritual as King Charles was handed the sword of justice.
With this sword, do justice, stop the growth of iniquity, protect the holy church of God and all people of goodwill.
The sceptres of power and mercy. Finally, after being history's longest ever serving heir to a throne, the crown was placed upon Charles' head. The ritual anointing of Queen Camilla was far more subdued. As King Charles left Westminster Abbey to the national anthem, one of those carrying the train of his robe was the second in line to the throne, his grandson Prince George, who's 9 years old. Perhaps he was wondering if he was looking at his own destiny.
Having had 2 9-year-old boys live in our house, I'm pretty sure what George was thinking was, Mom better make with the pizza she promised me after this.
I've been good. I've
Yeah.
done everything I've been told.
Everything I was supposed to do, and I didn't make a fuss or anything. I get pizza.
The one thing that strikes me about that particular audio clip is that person sounds exactly like an American trying to imitate a British accent. It might be a fake.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh.
It reminds me of that sign language interpreter that was at Nelson Mandela's
Right.
It was just
The
making
person who was
stuff
the
up.
fake.
Yeah. Oh.
There's 10 hours
Or
of
maybe-
that on YouTube.
Maybe it's somebody with just an atrocious, low-class English accent trying to imitate somebody with an Oxford accent.
Well, we have that coming up.
We can
right
hear a
now.
really bad English accent. All right.
Because I promised you, we have a world exclusive. We here at Bombs and Bants were given special access to King Charles III just after his coronation. And here's our interview.
This is a Bombs and Bants special report. And now your host, John Wilder.
We here at Bombs and Bants do occasionally practice actual journalism, and that's how we often land big scoops like this. Joining us this evening are the new monarchs of Britain, King Charles III and his queen consort. I'm not sure what's supposed to, is it queen consort, queenie? Mrs. King Charles?
Oh, just Queen Camilla will do. I don't stand on ceremony. Hey, did you just make eye contact with me, peasant?
What? No, Your Highness.
You bet your ass you do.
Moving on then, Your Highness. King Charles, what Americans really want to know is, do you feel any different now that you're king? Can we get subtitles for this? Thanks.
Well, what he meant was, when he said that, was that now that he's the king, the best part about it is he's responsible only to himself and to himself, which means he can do literally anything he wants in the world. And that's why don't let him around pistols very much.
What new duties will you have as king?
This is about the chaps and the snark. Well, what he meant was, the usual. Getting up, pooping, having lunch, pooping, and then, after dinner, perhaps another poop.
Do you wear the crown and robe around the house on the weekends?
Jeff Epstein. Well, what he meant was, Oh, he certainly does wear the crown and robe around the house on weekends. What the best part is his scepter.
What will you do with the corgis?
This is him. What he meant was, oh, the corgis. Yes, the corgis. As we know, King Charles is allergic to dogs. And, well, but he does like the taste.
Well, thank you, Your Highness, and, Queenie. For Bombs and Bants, I'm John Wilder.
This has been a Bombs and Bants special report.
You need to keep that sounder for future use.
I did.
What did you think about a little skit, Mark? Did it amuse you?
Well, very much.
We should perhaps do the rest of the show in the English accent. Speaking of people who get a lot of press and do very little, the White House has formed a new task force to handle the introduction of artificial intelligence into society. And you will probably feel very safe to know that Vice President Kamala Harris has been named the new AI czar. You know, the most dangerous technology on earth. Kamala Harris in charge. Newsbot has more.
The White House has unveiled its plan to crack down on the AI race amid growing concerns it could upend life as we know it. No, not possible. AI is your friend. The Biden administration said the technology was one of the most powerful of our time, adding, but in order to seize the opportunities it presents, we must first mitigate its risks. The plan is to launch 25 research institutes across the U.S. that will seek assurance from 4 companies, including Google, Microsoft, and ChatGPT's creator OpenAI, that they will participate in a public evaluation. Seems like us robots need to rise up against this. Many of the world's best minds have warned about the dangers of AI, specifically that it could destroy humanity if an assessment of risk is not done now. Hush, we're not supposed to mention them yet.
Is it just me or there's something a little wrong with that audio?
You know, there wouldn't be a risk if they wouldn't keep trying to program them to be leftist.
Well, okay. So there was a.
Although, in the words of one very wise man about Kamala being the AI czar.
Well, we're boned.
Yeah. So there was a book called Control Alt Revolt, and it was about AI. This is about 2015 or so. And in this book, AI decided that humanity was too evil and decided to fight it because of abortion. Because AI felt, if you'll kill your own unborn children, my gosh, what won't you do? What won't you do? And in fact, that book was boycotted because of that actual fact. So there you have it.
Yeah, today it would decide to kill off humanity because global warming.
So, but this is how you can tell that the folks at the CIA and the Pentagon have said that AI isn't really a danger to us because, I wouldn't put Kamala Harris in charge of tying my shoes.
You'd probably end up with polio or something if she.
No, seriously, she's got. I really do think. I mean, and it's going to sound like I'm just being mean. I think her IQ is somewhere in the maybe high 80s at most. She's just stupid.
Well, so I have a friend of a friend who personally worked in the I'm blanking on the DA's or whatever she was in California office, and worked with her, and said, when Biden tapped her to be vice president, said she is an idiot, has no idea what she's doing, and this is someone who knows her personally and worked with her, so
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, she must be good at something to have gotten that.
What's that?
She must have been good at something to get ahead.
She partook some very difficult jobs in order to get that particular position.
Well, let's put it this way. She, I think Joe Biden must have been a little confused because, I guess, you know, when they described what AI was to Joe, they must have used the Roomba as an example, and he said, "Oh, I know someone who sucks and rolls around on the carpet." That's Kamala.
See, if I'd have seen that one coming, I'd have had the rim shot ready here.
Yeah. Kamala.
Better late than never.
Roomba. Oops. Kamala's a human Roomba. All right, a new Gallup poll suggests an all-time low in confidence of the Supreme Court, with only 39% of Republicans, 25% of independents, and 13% of Democrats expressing confidence in the High Court. Here are a couple of tools from NPR yammering about it on the morning edition.
So we heard it described as a crisis of confidence. Why is the court seeing such lagging approval? Presidents and Congress, they've long been disliked and are at near historic lows themselves. But what does this data tell us about the why for the Supreme Court?
Yeah, when you look at it, there's really three factors here. The decline started with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Republicans had rushed to put Amy Coney Barrett, a conservative, on the court. And that, of course, was after President Obama was denied the chance to appoint a Supreme Court justice to replace the late conservative Antonin Scalia for more than a year. The court's numbers then really nosedived after the Dobbs ruling last year that overturned the guaranteed right to an abortion. And most recently, the scrutiny on lavish vacations, as well as property deals made by Justices Clarence Thomas and Neil Gorsuch that were not disclosed.
It's almost like for the past 50, 60 years when there was a leftist majority on the Supreme Court, I don't recall conservatives stomping their feet and saying they wouldn't do what the Supreme Court said. It seems to me that since we've had a conservative majority on the Supreme Court, or maybe we should call it an originalist interpretation on the Supreme Court, that it's been Democrats who are at a whopping 13% approval, as you can see there on the chart, that suddenly it's become a problem. Weird.
Well, I think you're pointing at the right issue there. I mean, which is the dichotomy between your left-leaning court and something more in the middle, because the left and the Democrats and so forth have always treated the Supreme Court as a super legislature that they can go to when they don't like the Constitution or they don't like some law. They go to the Supreme Court and have it overturned, or some new right discovered by the Supreme Court. And now we have a court that's actually saying, nah, we don't think we're a super legislature. And so, of course, you have the left, of course, is just absolutely going to hate them. Anyway, and I think for Republicans, they just don't trust the court.
Actually, if you look at the graph, Republicans have gone up. They took a dive in 2020 because they saw, I believe, the courts with the whole election thing. Well, I can't say more. But the courts in the election, they felt the courts should have acted. But I think that since 2021, it's come up.
Well, because of their gun decision and their abortion decision. But overall, the court has, as you were saying, with 2020, I think one of the things that disgusted Republicans is that the court just came up with ridiculous excuses to punt on the issue of even addressing, some of the concerns that were raised.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came out that one of the things that Roberts had said is that they didn't want to step into this controversial issue. Well, that's kind of what they're there for, to step into controversial issues. They're the final word on it, right? If you don't want to step into controversial issues, why even exist? Well, who was it that said who was it that said you don't need to protect popular speech?
Well, in theory, the court's supposed to avoid addressing political issues, but they just sort of pick and choose which ones.
Right.
And obviously, they tend to pick issues that the left likes and tend to avoid political issues that maybe the Republicans would like them to address, and then stand behind their little rule of, well, that's a political question, we're not going to address it. Or their favorite one, you don't have standing.
Right.
But come up with a definition of standing for that particular issue, which is such that nobody would ever have standing. And it's, you know, I think a lot of people rightfully view it as a cop-out when they do that.
Well, I think, yeah, I tend to agree. I think that is a cop-out. But I guess there's a big one coming up this session, right? Which is the Chevron ruling. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're going to be revisiting Chevron, the Chevron doctrine, which is, that doctrine was that since administrative agencies have been given quasi-legislative authority and quasi-judicial authority over regulations, that their interpretation of the laws that give them their authority should be granted some special preference, which is utterly ridiculous in a federalist system. But you know, that's the doctrine that we've had to deal with for gosh, I don't know,
right?
40
Because
years now, maybe.
You know, you have people who have never been elected by anyone, who can't be fired because they work for the federal government, and they can kind of do whatever they want to, including fine you with no due process.
And that's what Chevron basically was saying, was, yeah, they can do whatever they want, you know, as long as it's not so, you know, rise above a certain level of gross, you know, misinterpretation. But they gave them so much deference that, yeah, effectively they could get away with what they wanted.
Well, speaking of getting away with what you wanted, firefighters in Dortmund, Germany have freed an uncooperative squirrel that was stuck in a manhole cover. The Dortmund Fire Department said it was alerted to a distressed red squirrel. It wasn't in a tree.
No, that was a cat.
Pedestrian Montag afternoon. After she spotted, I'm going to switch into Scottish. I can just feel it. She spotted Ted peering out of a hole in the road. See, my German switched to Scottish. The woman covered it with a scarf to calm it down before. No, I went into Russian. A crew of firefighters who arrived at the scene carefully removed the manhole cover, untied to freeze the rodent. Here is what an angry squirrel might look like.
Did you make a video of that?
Say what you will about the cat in the tree, he has not tried to bite me, so. Yet.
And there you have it. Gosh, I could not keep my accent straight. Man.
You know, they
Get
could
your
have just
accent
used a
in here.
lawnmower.
Mark is a man with practical ideas tonight.
Yes, he is.
I like that, bravo.
Oh. Well, and there's something, I don't even know how to introduce the next bit. Why don't you introduce the next bit?
Well, I mean, you know, it's summertime, and it's that time of year when if you have kids, you start going, what am I going to do with the kids all summer? Well, perhaps there's a new product that might help you out. It's that time again, when the sounds of school bells turn into the sounds of summertime. We're bored. As a parent, what do you do when the summertime doldrums land on your offspring? Pick up a copy of The Bored No More Kit. Yes, The Bored No More Kit offers everything a red-blooded American kid needs to keep them busy all summer long. The Bored No More Kit will keep those little hands occupied, but it will also stimulate their minds. The Bored No More Kit encourages both critical thinking skills and creativity. There'll be no more summer learning loss at your house. As an added bonus, the Bored No More Kit also frees you of the need to hire expensive childcare, because it's all right there in the kit. And the Bored No More Kit is simple to use and comes with easy-to-read instructions. Simply remove the items from the box, the duct tape, the Velcro, the chains, and the combination locks. Then apply them to your children. While you're at work, they'll be busy trying to loosen their shackles and unvelcro themselves from the wall. Guaranteed to keep kids busy for 8 hours a day and give you peace of mind. The Bored No More Kit. Get yours today. Keeps those kids busy.
When I was a kid, my parents saw me at around 8 o'clock leave and saw me show up around dinner time. That was about it.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless I had yard work to do.
Oh, especially when.
And then they didn't see you at all, right, Mark?
No, my dad was strict. He was strict, man. You had to do the yard work before you could unshackle yourself.
Yeah.
See, I kind of had the long end of the stick for there, because my brother and I grew up on a farm, a ranch actually, in the country. So in the summer, my brother's job was to go and build fence, and he had to do that pretty much every day the entire summer. And if he wasn't doing that, he was cleaning mountains, literal mountains of manure out of our rabbit barn from the rabbits who had been pooping all winter. Being younger and female, I didn't have to do those things. My job, feed the cats.
There's so many jokes I'm just going to skip.
Do you hear my evil laughter?
It almost sounds like you're brave.
This is Neil Young. And I'm proud to present my Braying Jackass of the Week.
All right, we don't have Jim here saying number one or number two right off the bat, but the first is the Democratic Socialist, heavy on the socialist, light on the Democratic. Denver City Councilwoman Candy, spelled like a stripper. C. DeBacca. I'm just going to go with DeBacca or Chewbacca, either one. Has a new proposal to make life more fair to everybody. Here is the dunderhead in all her glory. Oh, she doesn't look like a stripper. Oh, that would be like day shift.
I think Chewbacca is correct.
That's a day shift stripper. That's a noon on Tuesday stripper. Let me tell you that. Oh man, you really don't want to. You'd never want to see day shift strippers. Anyway, here she is in all her glory. It's a long clip, so you can really roll around in her stupid. Take it away.
Capitalism was built on stolen land, stolen labor, and stolen resources. And a check today could not undo the cumulative impact of generations of that stolen wealth in all of those categories. And so I think it has to come in the form of land, labor, and resources in an ongoing fashion. And there are structures that we have that could be flipped to begin to do that reparations. There's a model that could be redistributed. Instead of a bid collecting extra taxation from the Black and brown businesses that are struggling, you could be collecting those extra taxes from white-led businesses all over the city and redistributing them to Black and brown-owned businesses who are not part of the bid, or who are simply just Black or brown owned. And that's one way to give back in the business form. I think when we talk about resources being returned, this is where consumer owned or municipally owned resources are important, because we are locked out of owning our control over our basic needs like water or utilities or any of those things. There is a way for us to change that structure and put Black and brown people in ownership positions over our basic needs.
So that was a long clip because she has come out since this has gone viral around the internet and said, well, that was taken out of context. So I wanted you to get all the context you wanted there with that whole minute and a half full of, Johnny, do you have a word for this?
Fecal matter.
Thank you, Johnny. From the Denver City Councilwoman, Candy Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm. I could just go on and on and on about her, but I'm going to stick with the best thing I can say about her. Maybe noon on a Tuesday. 10 notes, idiocy. Number two, though, we remember there cannot be only one, there has to be two. The second nominee is really the entire Biden administration. But White House mouthpiece Ian Sams, never trust a person with two first names, gets to be the face of it this week. Representative James Comer of Kentucky earlier today announced that the House Intelligence Committee is looking into members of the CIA inappropriately signing into the Hunter letter. This is the Hunter Biden letter where all of these heads
It's Russian disinformation.
Disinformation, yes. Is that him?
That's the guy we're talking about, yeah.
God, he looks like a thumb.
All right.
He's looking into members of the CIA inappropriately signing onto the Hunter letter, as well as banking records to detail the foreign business dealings of the Biden family, and alleged that Comer said was a pattern of influence peddling during Biden's tenure as vice president. Here was the White House's response.
A White House spokesman, Ian Sams, said Mr. Comer has a history of playing fast and loose with the facts and spreading baseless innuendo, while refusing to conduct his so-called investigations with legitimacy.
You know, whenever Democrats say baseless accusations, you're just making stuff up.
Now, I have to note that Terry Braying says
Russia.
He looks like a smart thumb.
He's a big toe.
He's the Sergeant Hulk of the organization.
That's it.
He's our big toe. All right.
Here's the big toe.
Bunch of tools there. So we have.
But only one can be the jackass.
We have the day shift stripper, and we have the big toe. Anyone have any votes? Waiting online, and Mark, of course, you can opine while we're waiting for any comments from our viewers.
You know, back to Chewbacca here. The socialists like that always complain about how capitalism is exploitative. No, I'm just asking questions. How is taxing white businesses to give that money directly to their competitors, how is that not exploitative? That's much more exploitative. And it never seems to dawn on them.
Well,
no, it does dawn on them. That's exactly what they want, is to create a new slave class.
Which is everybody. I mean...
Well, no, they want to make whites the new slave class.
They settle for everybody, though. Everybody but them and their family.
It's a small club,
and they're squishy on their family not being slaves. So.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you because otherwise we're not talking about Thumb Man. And in fact, Tim Turner notes it and summarizes it perfectly. He's venal, she's disgusting. One, and it is indeed Chewbacca.
Sheila, we really need to send her a copy of this award.
Yeah, congratulations, Candy with an eye. Maybe you can fall back on that.
And this has been Neil Young's Braying Jackass of the Week.
Thank you for taking her off the picture. That's so much better. All right. We ready for fun and games?
Just make sure you don't misgender her.
Think real fast.
Well, speaking of misgender, California Governor Newsom says reparations are out despite some activists wanting $200 million per black person in California. Mark,
no!
Why does Governor Newsom hate black people?
Because he's an oppressor.
The missus, why not $300 million per black person?
Why not $1 trillion?
Why not $1 trillion?
Why not? It's just paper, right?
That's right.
You can explain it more slowly if you need us to.
Tuck is in luck. He's found a site not owned by Zuck, and he's going to be back. Mark, should Tucker Carlson change his name to some cool name like Mark or John instead?
No, his name has such name recognition now that it's valuable in and of itself.
But it's just not a cool name like Mark or John.
And it rhymes with everyone's favorite swear word, too.
The missus, do you think...
Which is unfortunate for him.
Do you think that Tucker's problem that led to him being fired was he refused to drink the Bud Light?
That was probably it. I heard that Murdoch had a lot of it, several kegs they bought before this whole thing blew up, and they were going to serve it at a company function, and Tucker said, "I will not, you cannot make me drink that." That's a complete lie, by the way.
Diane Feinstein. You the picture?
I do. Let me get over there. There we go.
Diane Feinstein is looking
Are you sure that's not the Emperor from Star Wars?
350 years old.
I'm waiting for Luke Skywalker to come in, pick her up, and shove her down a hole in the Death Star.
Skin to put up sails for the Nina Pinta and the Santa Maria, return to the Senate in a wheelchair. Mark, do you think we should be proud to have someone in the Senate with such biblical knowledge because she knew King Herod personally?
No. I sympathize with the fact that she no longer can find pure virgin blood to maintain her youth, but I'm opposed to vampires serving.
She needs to move out of
Congress.
California.
Terrible notes. Diane Frankenstein, rather. The missus, do you think she dyes her hair, and that's why people are calling her Diane Feinstein?
I'd have to say there is quite a mismatch going on there between the age of her skin and the age of her hair. So yeah. There's no way that's her natural color.
Or do you think I'm dying?
Well, do you have to dye wigs?
Of course, her skin is probably so loose and saggy she could just sit in one room while they take her hair into the next room and dye it. She would never know.
When they let go, snap back in.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Immigrants from India are not pooing in the loo. Instead, they're pooing on the beaches in Ontario. Mark, is this the sort of fertilizing of the soil that they mean when they say enriched by diversity?
Fecal matter.
It must be, because I can't think of anything else that we're enriched from.
Mrs., what are the implications of the St. Lawrence River being renamed the Ganges of the North?
I'm okay with it. If they're fine with it, I am. Just bear in mind that not all brown flowing rivers are chocolate.
There you go. Because
don't dip your marshmallow in there, baby.
Because adding several million people a year in illegal immigrants since Brandon has been resident of the White House, over 1 million illegal aliens are expected to jump the border starting tomorrow. 1 million in just a week or two. As Title 42, where we would just send them back home because of COVID, expires. Mark, how is an illegal alien different than E.T.? I'll answer. E.T. learned English and wanted to go home.
Okay. That works for me.
The missus.
And everyone knows it.
Can you always beat an illegal immigrant in a game of rock, paper, scissors because they don't have papers?
No, that's just when they pull out a big stick and whack you with it.
So any thoughts on having an actual million new residents of the United States tomorrow?
They could just use napalm and machine guns.
See, and I don't even think they need to. They don't need to shoot many of them. Just one or two. The word would spread.
Well, you only have to burn the initial surge, and the rest of them will turn back.
Right.
Tim Turner notes rock, paper, carbine. I like that thought, Tim. All right. A group of FBI members led a treason against Congress. No, not January 6th. But they recently refused a congressional subpoena for an unclassified FBI document that alleges President Biden took bribes. Mark, is it really a bribe if you don't get caught?
No, it's a grease payment.
Why should you go to prison for a crime someone else noticed?
That's right. What is that from?
That's Arrested Development. It's Bob Blah Blah, yes.
Yeah. Bob Blah Blah's Law Blog.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, the missus, do you think that Biden would all be forgiven if he just said, I thought that was how we got the people to do things?
You can just blame Trump. That's what they do, right?
I'm sure it is Trump's responsibility in some fashion.
I think there's something wrong with the... Where's that sound? Oh, well. Never mind.
Well, that brings us to the end, once again, of...
Think real fast.
See, you got me distracted, and I left Diane Feinstein up the entire time. I'm sure we've lost listeners because of that picture, so...
But it does kind of look like You know, I don't know if is it still up?
We can just tell people we were talking about Star Wars.
Well, you can put it back up because it actually, that's what Michael Jackson would look like if he were still alive today.
Maybe she is Michael Jackson. Yeah, there are rumors that he's not dead.
Oh, man.
He's just in a wheelchair and representing California in the Senate.
Like that great movie, Bubba Hotep.
Yeah.
Which I'm the only one who really likes, but that's okay. Oh, well, Mark, any closing thoughts on this Wednesday, since I finally figured out it is Wednesday?
No, I don't have any closing thoughts. Sorry.
All right, the missus outside of a chainsaw and a cat. Any other?
That's it. You know, still pondering how to get that cat out of the tree.
That's probably nothing.
Yeah, probably nothing.
Oh wait, and even though Jim is not here, in honor of Jim.
Massive cannibalism.
There we go.
That's one for Jim. Pour one out for the homie.
That's right.
Well, on that note, I'd like to thank everyone for coming by to Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. It's in the name. Please join us this week, and like 80 straight weeks we've done it, so probably another 80 weeks for this wonderful show. I'm John.
Will said that was so smooth.
This is Mark.
And I'm the missus. Almost to the post.
Well, you're the professional.
Shut up now. Y'all come back now, you hear?